Hello everyone. Welcome to this new video on bold reports. This video explains each and every property available in the chart report item. Properties are used to format or customize the chart report item. Before the video, I created a new report, added the column chart report item, and assigned the data values to the chart. I have provided the video tutorial link for accomplishing this in this video's description. Now, let's look at each property in detail, starting with the basic settings category. Enable the Show Legend option to display it in the chart, or hide it by disabling the option. We can also customize the chart legends. Click the icon next to the Show Legends property. Select Advanced. The advanced customization properties are displayed. You can enable or disable a border for the legend. By default, the option is disabled. I enable it and change the border color to black and the border size to 1.5. You will see my border color and size are applied to the legend. This property is used to change the background color of the legends section. For this demo, I changed the background color to light yellow. The font property is used to change the font name, color, and size in the legend. For this demo, I changed the font to Arial. Size 12. The font style property is used to change the font style and font weight. For this demo, I changed the font style to italic and font weight to bold. Here, we can enter the title for the legend. I enter Sales Count Legends as the title field value. You can see the title is added to the legend section. Once you have entered the title, the properties to customize the legend title are displayed. We can change the title font and font style. I changed the font to Arial. Font color to black. And font size to 12. Then, the font style to italic. And font weight to bold. This property is used to align the title text in the legend section. I changed the title alignment to left. You see the title is aligned to left in the legend section. This lets us position the legend inside the chart area. I changed the legend position value to top center. And now the position of the legend has changed from bottom center to top center. The Enable Custom Bound property is used to customize the size and position of the chart legend inside the chart area. By default, it is disabled. By enabling the property, the properties to change the legend are displayed. Click the Preview button to see how the legend is rendered in the chart area, in the Report Viewer control. I close the Advanced option. And I disable the Show Legend property. The Choose Series property is used to change the series value and customize it. The list of series and the Y value section in the data pane are displayed in the Choose Series drop-down to select from. For this demo, I have added only the Visitor, Purchaser, and Add to Cart Count series in the Y value section. Only those series show in the drop-down. To customize the selected series, click the Edit icon next to Choose Series. The properties to customize the series are displayed. The chart type property contains the list of chart items that are available to choose from in bold reports. For the visitors count series, I selected column as the chart type property value, and line for the purchaser count series. You will see the visitors count series is visualized using a column chart, and the purchaser count series is visualized using a line chart. I changed the chart type property value for the purchaser count series to column. I select the visitors count series and choose series, and click the edit button. The border property is used to assign the border style, color, and thickness for the chart series. For this demo, I changed the border style to solid and border color to black. You see the border style and color are assigned to the selected series in the chart area. The series color property is used to change the background color of the chart series. For this demo, I changed the series color to yellow. You can see the change reflected in the chart. Smart labels manage label overlaps, even when many labels are placed in close vicinity. To explain the Enable Smart Label property, I have created another report, added a pie chart to it, and assigned values to it. I have added the documentation link for creating a pie chart in the video description. First, I enable the Show Data Label Settings property. The data labels are enabled in the chart area with this property, and the properties used to customize them are displayed. I enable the Smart Label property. You will see the overlap data labels are displayed with the help of a marker line. To customize the Smart Label property, click the icon next to it and select Advanced. The properties to customize the Smart Labels are displayed. The Label Style property is used to select the Smart Label based on the chart. Clicking the drop-down icon, the list of Smart Label Style properties available in bold reports is displayed. Since we want to display the Smart Labels in a pie chart, the pie label style is selected. The Value property is used to select where the data label values need to be displayed. By default, the outside value is selected. For this demo, I choose Inside and preview the report. You will find that only the overlap labels are displayed outside the chart, and other labels are displayed inside. Now, I'll go back to the report that has the column chart. I open the series properties, and I enable the Smart Data Label property. Now, let's look at the properties under the link category. Linking can be used to create an interactive report using hyperlink and report linking. Report linking allows us to access the main report from the server and retains the original report definition. By selecting the report property, the properties to select a report published in the report server, and the options to set the parameters are displayed. The URL property is used to link to a web page in a report. By selecting the URL property, the property to enter the external URL is displayed. The bookmark property is used to link the series to the bookmarks in the report. By selecting the bookmark property, the property to enter the bookmark is displayed. Now, let's see the properties under the Marker Settings category. Data markers are used to provide more information about the data points. You can add a shape and label to each data point. The Show Marker property is used to enable the markers in the chart. I enable it, and the properties to customize the markers are displayed. The border properties are used to change the border color and thickness for the markers. I change the color to black and the thickness to 1.5. You can see these are now applied to the chart. The next property is used to change the background color of the marker. I change the color to red. And you can see that change here. The marker type property is used to change the shapes of the marker. I click the drop-down icon to see the list of shapes available. And select the diamond type. Now you can see that change. I use the size property to change the size of the markers to 10. The size changes accordingly. Now, let's see the properties under the Data Label Settings category. Data labels are text describing the value for each data point. I enable the Show Data Label property. And the properties to customize the data labels are displayed. I enable the Show Border property. Now it displays the properties for customizing the border color and thickness. For this demo, I disable the border property. I use the background color property to change the label background color to light yellow. The font property is used to change the font family, color, and size. The font style property is used to change the style and weight of the font. The position property is used to position the label at the top, center, or bottom of the series. For this demo, I change the position value to center. I change the value in the label rotation property to -90. And the labels are rotated accordingly. The format property is used to format the data label values. Click the icon next to the format property. In the format dialog, change the type value to number. Decimal places to 2. Enable Use 1000 separator. And click the OK button. The label property displays the list of keywords that can represent items that exist in the chart. For example, if you want to display the percentages label, then you can select #%. I have provided a keyword and its description in this presentation for your reference. Use value as label property is used to display actual values of series in the data labels in report preview. If this checkbox is enabled, the label property will have no effect on the data labels. Click the preview button. You will see the label format is changed, based on the format added in the format property. Now, let's look at the properties under the Miscellaneous category. Before explain the properties, I have enabled the Enable Legend property, and I have changed the Legend Position property to bottom center. The Tooltip property can be used to display informative text or values when the user hovers over the series in report preview. To set the tooltip value, I click the icon next to it. And then I click Expression. In the Expression dialog, I set the expression to display the visitors count. And then I click the OK button. The Custom Attribute property can be used to set the values for chart series custom properties. This property can be used to customize the legend text of each series in the chart. I enter visitors as the value. And the legend changes accordingly. I click the Preview button. While hovering over the visitors count series, you will see the tooltip, which displays the text from the expression we entered in the tooltip property. Click the Back button. And I disable the Show Legend property. Now, let's look at the properties under the Appearance category. Using them, we can change the column chart border style, color, and thickness, as well as the background color of the chart. There are 5 border styles available: dashed, dotted, double, none, and solid. By default, solid is selected. For this demo, I changed the border style to dashed. Border color to black. And thickness to 1.833. The borders of the chart are changed, based on the selected options. By default, the background color is white. But I'm changing it to light red. The background color of the chart changes accordingly. I change the background color back to white. Next, let's look at the properties under the chart area category. The Show Border property is used to show, or hide the border in the chart area. After enabling this property, the properties to customize the chart area border are displayed in the property panel. I change the border color to black. Then I change the border thickness to 2. I change the chart area background color to light yellow. By default, the bright pastel color palette is selected for the color palette property. I change it to Pacific. On preview, you will see the chart area formatted based on the properties we have added in the chart area section. I am changing the chart area background color back to white. Next, let's look at the properties under the title category. The Show Chart Title property is used to enable or disable the visibility of the chart title. By default, this option is enabled. I enter sales count as the title text property value. We can then customize the chart title. I click the icon next to it, and then the Advanced option. Here we can customize the text in the chart title. The font and the font style options are used to customize the font of the title text. This property is used to show or hide the border in the chart title. By enabling it, the border in the chart title is displayed. I change the border color to black and the thickness to 2. I change the background color property value for the chart title section to light yellow. OK, now I'll change the background color value back to white. Disable the Show Border property. And close the Advanced properties. With this property, we can set the position at which the chart title displays, left, center, or right. By default, the center option is selected. Let's look at the properties under the Node Data category. The Node Data property is used to display static text when a data set results in empty or 0 rows at runtime. The font family, size, color, style, and weight properties are used to style the content for the Node Data message. The text entered in the message property will be displayed to the user when a data set results in empty or 0 rows. I enter the message value Node Data to display. We can also disable the text by enabling the Hide Node Data. I click the icon next to the message property and select Advanced. In the Advanced properties, you will see Hide Node Data. You will also see some other properties like Show Border, Border, Background Color, and Position property to customize the Node Data message. Next, let's look at the properties under the Category Axis category. The Enable Axis property is used to show or hide the category axis. By default, this option is enabled, and the title changes accordingly. You can customize the font in the axis title. Click the icon next to the axis title property and select Advanced. The font family, size, color, style, and weight properties are used to style the content for the axis title. I change the font size to 13 and the font weight to bold. Alignment is used to set the position of the title, center, near, or far. By default, the center option is selected. The line style property is used to change the style, color, and thickness of the category axis line. I change the style property to dotted. Color property to black. And the thickness property to 2. The label overflow mode property can be used to handle the display mode of the overlapping labels. The trim option trims the ends of overlapping labels in the axis. By default, the trim option is selected. The hide option hides the overlapping labels in the axis. The label rotation property is used to increase or decrease the rotation angle of the axis labels. I change the label rotation value to -30. And see the labels rotate accordingly. The label format option is used to format the labels in the category axis. You can format the label text by clicking the icon next to label format. To open the format dialog, select date from type and January 2000 from date. Click the OK button. The label font family, color, and size properties come under the label font property. The font style and font weight for the label are displayed under advanced properties. The interval and interval type properties can be used to set the interval for category and value axes. The interval property allows you to define the number of intervals you want in the category axis, and provides consistent measurement of data points in the chart report. The interval type property is used to assign the type for the interval value. The maximum and minimum properties can be used to define the maximum and minimum values on a chart axis. The margin property specifies the size of the chart's margins. Margins are calculated inward from the specified chart size. Increasing the margin size does not increase the total chart size, but rather shrinks the chart area, if necessary. This property does not apply to pie, donut, funnel, or pyramid chart types. The include 0 property is enabled. The y-axis configures the range so that 0 is included. The labels auto-fit disabled property can be used to avoid skipping labels at runtime. Enable or disable this property based on the label rendering behavior of the chart design. You can enable or disable the major and minor ticks to show or hide them in the column chart. I'll enable the major tick and minor tick properties to show you them in the category axis. You can change the tick width, height, and color under advanced properties. The tick position property can be used to position the ticks outside or inside the chart axis. By default, outside is selected. I select inside, so that the ticks will be displayed inside the chart area. On preview, the category axis label formats are changed, based on the format selected in the label format property. Let's look at the properties under the value axis category. The value axis category has the same set of properties as the category axis property. For this demo, I entered sales as the axis title value. Change the font size to 13. And the font weight to bold. I set the maximum value to 180,000. Since include 0 property is enabled, the value 0 is in the value axis. On preview, you will see the maximum value for Y value data points is 180,000. Now, let's look at the properties under the grid line category. Grid lines extend from the horizontal and vertical axes across the plot area of the chart. By default, the properties for enabling the grid line and category and value axes are enabled. You can also enable minor grid lines and customize all the grid lines for the category and value axes. These options are available under the advanced properties. I change the major grid line style to dashed. And the color to black. And you can see the grid line style has changed. I enable the Show Minor Grid Line property. And change the minor grid line style to dashed. You can see the changes. In the same way, I enable the minor grid lines in the value axis. And apply the same style property for major and minor grid lines. You can see the changes. Let's look at the properties under the page break category. Break location, and page number reset. The page break property is used to control the amount of information on each page, when you preview the report. By default, the none value is selected as the break location. And the page number reset property is disabled. To explain the break location and page number reset property, I open the report, which has 3 report items. The chart is present in the middle of the other 2 report items. And I have added a text box in the footer, that displays the page number. On preview, you will see the report items are rendered, and the page number is displayed in each page. I select the chart. The none, and between page break values have the same functionality, displaying the original report. Change the break location value to start. And enable the page number reset property. In the preview, you can see the report items above the chart are displayed in one page. I move to the next page, and the chart report item, and the report items below the chart are displayed in the next page. Since we have enabled the page number reset property, the page number is reset from the page where the chart starts. I change the break location value to end. On preview, you see the report items through the chart are displayed in one page. And on the next page, the report items after the chart are displayed. The page number is reset on the page after the chart ends. The start and end break location property is the combination of the start and end break location properties. I change the break location value to start and end. In the preview, you see the report items above the chart are displayed in one page. And on the next page, a chart is displayed and the page number is reset. This is the behavior of the start break location property. On the next page, the report items below the chart are displayed and the page number is reset, which is the behavior of the end property. Next, we'll see the properties under the position category. The position property is used to change the top and left values of the column chart report item to change its position. The size property is used to change the width and height values of the report item. Now, let's look at the properties under the data element category. Data elements can be used to control the visibility of a report item when exporting the report in XML format. The properties available in the data element category are name and output. The name property is used to assign a custom name to the chart element. The chart will be exported with this name. The name value cannot contain spaces, and it must begin with a letter followed by letters, numbers, or the underscore character. The output property value will control the visibility of the chart report item while exporting the report. The auto and output options export the chart. The no output option does not export the chart report item. Let me show you each option in the output category. First, I enter bold reports column chart as the name value. Auto and output have the same functionality. I select output as the output property value. I export the report in XML format in the report viewer control. I open the exported file. Since we have selected output, the text in the name property is displayed. This time, I select No Output as the output option. I export report in XML format and open it. Because of the No Output option, the text in the name property is not displayed. Next, we'll look at the properties under the visibility category. The visible option is used to show or hide the column chart report item while viewing the report. By default, it is enabled. I disable the visible property, and I preview the report. You see, the chart is not displayed. I enable the visible property. The toggle item is used to expand or collapse the report item based on the text box selection. To explain this property, I add a text box above the chart and some text. Under the visibility category, I enable the initial toggle state to expand the report item when previewing it. I select the chart report item, and then the text box name for which I want to expand or collapse the chart in the dropdown. Now, we'll preview the report. Here, since we have enabled the initial toggle state for text box report, by default, the text box report is in an expanded state. You can also collapse the text box by clicking the toggle icon. You can delete the text box name by clicking the delete icon. Now, let's see the properties under the miscellaneous category. The page name property is used to name the first worksheet of the Excel workbook when exporting the report to Excel format. You can set static or dynamic text as the page name using an expression. For this demo, I set the page name value to bold reports chart. Let's preview the report. I export the report in Excel format and open the file. You can see the sheet name with the text in the page name property. The tooltip property can be used to display informative text or values when the user hovers over the report item in Report Preview. For this demo, I set the tooltip value to bold reports chart. Let's preview the report. While hovering over the item, you will see the text we entered in the tooltip property is displayed. Before explaining the document map property, I have added a table report item and assigned values to it. The document map property is used to assign the document map value for the column chart. A document map is a navigational feature that displays a separate side pane with a set of navigational links and hierarchical structure when you view a report. I select the text box report item and enter bold reports text box as the document map property value. For the chart, I enter bold reports chart as the value. And for the table, I enter bold reports table as the value. On previewing, you can see the document map section in the report viewer control, and that the text we entered in the document map property is displayed. On clicking the text, it will navigate us to the selected report item. Bookmark links allow the users to navigate to different parts of a report. Let's make it so that clicking a text box will navigate us to the column chart while previewing the report. For the chart, in the bookmark property, I enter the value bold reports column chart. Then, I select the text box report item. And under the link category, I change the link property to bookmark. And in the bookmark property, I click the drop-down icon. The text we have entered in the chart bookmark property is displayed. I select that. Let's preview the report. I hide the document map section by clicking the document map icon. Click the text box report item. It will navigate to the column chart. The custom attribute property can be used to set the values for custom properties. In this video, we saw the list of properties available in the chart report item. Stay tuned to this channel for our upcoming videos on bold reports. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.